I tell you what, do we want to see the original clip first so that we can then judge it based on these images, or like what's the best way? Because Darkar, you're our resident martial arts expert.
I have 16 years of jiu-jitsu experience, so I will have I can explain what's sort of going on.
I was going to say, for the record, right, he'll be able to explain it very well, but I don't think anybody needs it explained.
No, you don't need an explanation. I mean, in fairness, it does. I will be as fair as I can, and anybody who's seen one of my fight breakdowns will know that I do try to make it as fair as possible. But some of the stuff makes no sense. One transition does make sense, I will say that, but it wouldn't make sense for her body weight. So I will do my best to make sense of it and be objective.
Is it better to show the original clip and then we can then show how it should be done, or should we show the theory behind it and then show what they do?
Yeah, show the clip and then I'll kind of say. I know you got to go in like segments of 9 seconds. So.
Yeah, I'll try and break it up a little bit. So, yeah, this is our little intro to Ellie to prove that she's a real tough chick.
5 years later. Okay, right there, she's basically done. There's no coming back from that. She just got thrown on her face.
I kind of think if you got your opponent face down on the ground, you just have to
remember
their back or something, and they're
he
done.
Also apparently punched her square in the nose as well. But they have the whole "I pulled my punch." All right.
I do love that. Yeah. He says, "You pulled your punch." Yeah, no shit. He
obviously, because you would take your head off if he gave you a full punch.
This guy, if he punched you full on, your head would be concave.
He's a big guy as well. Even me, if that guy hit me full force right in the face, my nose and my teeth are gone.
So, context, I looked up the actor. He has an MMA record. He has he's 2-0 amateur MMA record. He's 6'3" or 4", depending on which organization was measuring him.
I can't believe he allowed himself to be bitched like this.
Consistently 240 pounds, no matter where I found his statistics. So
let's see if I can get a shot of him.
Get up there.
Yeah, that's a big guy right there.
Yeah.
Well, you talk about weight class. He's basically just 3 more people compared to her.
Yeah, it's not even at this point. It's not weight class. It's quite literally. She's 5'1", and I'm gonna guess 100 pounds, maybe less, because you do see when she stitches herself, she's very skinny. She has no body fat, so she might even be less than 100 pounds. First of all, I don't even know how that transition happened. She went from a blast double to a single leg takedown. Makes no sense to me whatsoever because he basically just threw her to the side.
This is kind of getting into that territory of was it Terminator Salvation when the Terminator is fighting John Connor, and instead of just grabbing his skull and squishing it, it just keeps throwing him around the room.
Mm-hmm.
It's I
don't know what it is with Hollywood, but they think that's such a satisfying answer to an enormous creature grabs a person that they need to kill and just tosses them again and again and again.
Yeah. So now he is supposed to be holding back. So when you do go, if this is a training exercise, you're supposed to do what's called scaling or let the person work. But you're also not supposed to let them unrealistically think that they can do something. It doesn't. That's besides the point.
Because the show tries to have it both ways by the end, where it's she beats him and gets him to tap out, to the point where he's actually scared.
Yeah.
But then the other dude comes in and he's well, he pulled his punches and he kind of just was going easy on you, and she's never do that again. And he's oh, okay, I'm sorry. And it's well, what am I supposed to take from this? Is it that she's overconfident and she's just been allowed to win easy fights that are fixed in her favor, or is it people are actually afraid of her because she's really dangerous and she's working her way up? I don't really know.
It's supposed to give the impression that she gives them a look, or both of the guys a look, to say we're basically on level, even terms now. In terms of
I think that's what they want you to think, and it's oh, it's just so cute. So what's happening here?
So honestly, she's just trying to kick at him, and he's just using it.
Well,
so if he was actually a trained fighter, this would have not been an issue at all. I'm
you
guessing
just
that
throw her at this point.
Well, yeah, because if you've got someone by their feet, like you can just swing them around the room until their head connects with a pillar. And
I mean, she's light, so yeah, he probably could. Now, it is incredibly hard to actually hold a person from their legs as soon as they start flailing them around like that, what we would call leg circles. But she's not really doing it technically, so he would probably have a good chance of holding on.
Let's see. What's he?
That is called a grape choke. That's called a grape choke. I'm going to censor it so we don't get this, but that's what that's called.
Oh. That term's banned in jiu-jitsu now, apparently.
Now they call it, a lot of people who have been doing it for a long time call it that. So yeah, he
So is it actually, literally just I'm going to grab you by the throat and just hold on until you pass it?
It's actually one of the worst choke attempts you could possibly do.
Yeah.
Now because
it does feel bad because, like, you know, if you grab someone by the throat,
we get told to call it the Homer Simpson instead. We get told to call it that.
Well, if you grab them like that, right, and you leave their arms free, right, they can grab you around the face, they can gouge your eyes or whatever. Like, they can do all kinds of things.
So that, like, literally the thing that you would go for is an arm bar right off of that, because their arm is completely extended, and there's nothing stopping them from basically, you know, taking it.
Wouldn't it be better to just like ground and pound? Like if you've got someone on the ground like that.
Oh, you're talking about the person on top. You're talking about the
yeah. Sorry,
you can start punching them. Definitely, there's no reason to do this at all.
Here we go.
So
that left arm,
the strength to do it.
Right. See, he could very easily just get his hand in there with his strength and disconnect those legs.
Doesn't need to do that. Does not need to do that. If anybody saw, it was Ricardo Arona versus Rampage Jackson in Pride back in like the early 2000s. He literally picks him up. Ricardo Arona was a 250-pound man who was a world-class.
Look at this. He picked
him up and slammed him so hard that he knocked him out. That is all he would need to do here. However, that being said, there is no choke here. This is actually she's doing nothing. I actually have a picture of myself doing something very similar. If you want to show it, Drinker.
Yeah, let's see what we got here.
I censored it.
Is that the one that you showed there?
Yes, yeah. This is the old. This is from 2009. I had to go back and as you can see, the choke is not actually there. I'm having to work. Now, I censored this for the innocent, and Bella Ramsey is definitely, her head is enormous, so I made sure that it made. But basically, there's no choke there. I do have one later on that will show how. I mean, I could go get it right now. How to finish the choke. Hold on, let me just get that for you. So, in the interest of fairness, I censored myself in this one.
All right, let's see.
So that is actually how you finish a triangle choke. You need to get the person's weight down. You need to get their neck down. And if they're far up above you like that, you can't. There's no choke. You're just trying to choke with your ankles and your calves.
Yeah. So you're trying to get one of their arms locked in. Like
yes. So you need to have it across between your legs. So it needs to be like this. So this right here will cut off this carotid artery. Your leg will cut off the other one, as you can see. And she's doing absolutely nothing to him in that clip, just so you're aware. I did this for everybody. I thought it would be really funny. So
let's see. Let's see how it plays out.
Look at him struggling.
It's ridiculous. Fuck off.
It's not like I don't mean to be weird around, right? But like my girlfriend's about the same size as her. You can just literally. You can just pick them up and move them, right? It takes nothing. He is massive. He could lift 4 of her easily.
It looks pretty chill even in that shot there.
He's looking at his agent. He's looking at his agent. Thinking, when's the check clearing for this shit?
Well, I actually got that impression watching him. He was like, "So I lose here, okay?" And you'd think you would have been able to tell them
choreograph this actually.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if he had told them this wouldn't work, and they said that's fine. This is storytelling. This is TV. No one's going to care as long as.
Yeah, like I guess Dark Hour, you could probably answer this. Like, is there a way you could do a fight scene like this
Where she wins?
And make it somewhat plausible. Like
she'd have to get on his back. She'd have to get on his back. That's the only way. So when you get on someone's back, you essentially, I mean, you don't null and void the size difference, but what you are doing is you are now taking yourself out of the visual ability. So now you can kind of do weird things. Also, a rear naked choke generally doesn't really matter how big the person is. You can just grab onto it and just go, however you want to. But this is, I always instruct people when I teach triangles that if the person has really wide shoulders, significantly larger than you, you probably shouldn't do it.
Isn't the way to do this scene obviously is that she loses, but she learns something. Like
yes, that would actually probably be the smartest way to do it.
But surely, because like she's supposed to be, this is like training, and he's like a not to speak a veteran, but he's obviously if he's the guy that has to take on everybody, why the fuck would Ellie be able to beat him?
She wouldn't be.
It's just it's like storytelling opportunities are getting wasted.
I could get a kind of like Rocky 3 scenario where it's like everyone's going easy on her and like she's picking up a bunch of easy wins and like it fuels this like sense of self-confidence that gets absolutely destroyed when she comes up against a real enemy. But I don't get the impression we're going to do anything like this here.
Let me put it this way. So I'm going to be fair. It is not impossible for a significantly smaller person to tap out a larger person. That is actually one of the principles of any kind of submission grappling art. Judo, jiu-jitsu, sambo, whatever one you go with. That being said, this person clearly has experience because he's doing things that are proper. And she's so much smaller. She would need to do very specific things she's not doing.
Right. If you did this maneuver with a clicker, wouldn't its head just turn into a pop into a?
That was another thing I was thinking about, actually, Echo, is what is the fucking point of even doing this? Clickers don't care about pain.
Yeah,
they can't be choked unconscious.
A shotgun is just going to deal with them pretty easily.
I just get this image in my head of a clicker going like.
It's hurting my shoulder too much, bro.
No, picture the clicker being like, "Oh no, you got me! Oh, here I go, I'm falling down."
I will say this: the transition she's about to do is actually a legitimate transition that I teach very often. It's so this submission that a lot of people, I noticed a couple people in the chat have said she does something similar to a Kimura. It's called an omoplata. Is actually what she does. Yeah. She just does it very badly.
Let's see it. Wait, so what happened there? Like his arm just kind of slid out of her grip.
So what she would do is so a lot of people know the Kimura lock from years of watching UFC, but the omoplata is kind of like a Kimura lock with the legs. Now she would be putting a lot of pressure on his shoulder. Now he would probably be able to sit back. Unfortunately, it's very difficult to do on someone that's significantly larger than you, which is one of the reasons I don't teach it, because it often turns into just a sweep. You do it and you get on top. A sweep is when you get on top. Now, her legs are in the worst possible position. She doesn't actually have any lock on it. Her legs should kind of be like this, like that, like facing away from him. And they're just straight forward. So she can't actually get the leverage she needs by going forward because her legs are in the way.
Plus, his wrist was just resting limply on her neck for about 3 or 4 seconds.
Yeah, all he needs to do is really buck back, and you
can roll forward. Surely go with the elbow and just like try and strike something, because like
honestly that actually would not be realistic. If you tried to elbow her, you would actually lock up your shoulder more. She wouldn't have enough weight to take him over. That's really the problem. It's whether or not the technique works is irrelevant, because her weight would have never taken him over. He outweighs her by more than a body weight, a body mass and a half.
Let's see.
Okay, Ellie.
Okay, actually, Drinker, can you go back like 3 seconds to where you saw how her legs were forward?
Ellie.
See how her legs are like straight forward? For her to get the pressure to actually do this, her arms are not useful here, really. She would need to push her body forward and essentially use her like chest and rib area to push the arm forward. That's how that lock would work. She's really not doing much there. If she was pushing directly down on his wrist, then it would like this, like a gooseneck style. then it would actually lock. But she's not doing that. She's just kind of hugging his arm. It's not doing shit. See right there how her legs are forward. She can't get the forward pressure. She would have to essentially what we call windshield wiper her legs across, which is that they would be both of her legs would be facing away from his body, and that way she could bring her body forward to get the pressure downward.
Yeah, I mean,
I can find a picture of it so that way people could see. Hold on.
No, it's fair. I think we kind of get what you're saying, but. Yeah,
sorry. I go kind when it comes to grappling, I go kind of a little too in depth sometimes.
Well, I think this whole section is just an interesting example of like you could have, as Mahler pointed out, done something interesting character-wise, where she just gets completely dominated by someone who's way bigger and stronger than her, but like maybe learns a lesson about like how to not just go to toe with someone. Like you've got to be smarter than that when you're not as strong as them. Okay, cool. That's something that she can apply to like future confrontations, or maybe she's struggling against this guy, but like she perseveres and maybe like brings it to like a draw or something like that. Again, just through like dogged perseverance, there's something there. But like with this, it's like she just kind of scores an easy victory, and now she's like the ultimate badass, and we're just, I guess, expected to believe that.
Or if she was flailing around wildly, like in a real like tempest, so it's suggesting to the audience that she's got a wildness in her, which is a kind of cool thing you can develop later on, or just have there residing, and that the onus is on him, where it's uncomfortable and difficult for him to have this flailing person who won't give up. So that would be interesting character development too. Yeah,
I think because there's potentially something quite cool you could do there, where like he easily beats her, but like she doesn't sort of just submit and take the L. She keeps getting up and going again, to the point where he actually becomes a bit uncomfortable with it. Like, oh, I don't want to actually be beating up a girl here. That's weird, and I don't like it. But she's determined to keep going. Like that's actually quite cool. You could do something interesting with that.
Realistically, what they would be using these kind of techniques for is to get out from underneath. Like if a clicker attacked them and got on top of them, is trying to bite them, is to get away from them. That way, because they have guns, they want to get some distance. That's the whole point. There's no reason for her to be trying to tap out a clicker. They don't feel regular pain.
So I mean, like you could even have a callback.
Wait, I do like food as well. Yes, I am also a food critic. I do like food.
Yeah. I haven't had that earlier. About 10 years, so. If we had that earlier scenario, then you can have a callback where she's an actual real situation, and then she keeps flailing and won't give up, and then it calls back to that, but they don't really have that kind of stuff going on.
Oh yeah, and just before I fuck off, here's a little reminder that the Kickstarter for Trial by Fire still has a couple of weeks left for donations. We already reached our funding goal within the first few days, so big thanks to everyone who donated, and we're now pushing towards our stretch goals to try to produce more and better quality short films. So if you're feeling generous and you'd like to support independent filmmakers, not to mention take a shot at having your own idea turned into a short movie, then consider heading to the Kickstarter page in the description and having a look. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.